Welcome to Challenge Forex. My name is Steve and join me today as I test a strategy for prop firm challenges. This one's using the Supertrend indicator, and this was requested by one of my subscribers. And the request was to use Supertrend on the pound yen and a 30-minute chart to see if we can use this one to actually pass prop firm challenges. As I mentioned, this was actually requested by one of my followers. The settings that we are using for the Supertrend are a 10, and he requested 3.5. However, on the Supertrend indicator, the default setting for me comes up as 10 on the settings, so 10 and 3. But the request was to use 10 and 3.5, although I don't think that'll make much difference for the result. We're going to add a 200 EMA to filter out the sideways markets. Otherwise, we'll be getting a lot of false signals when the chart is going on sideways markets. We'll be getting buys and sells when they are not really a real signal. And we'll enter long when the Supertrend indicator turns green and the price is above the EMA 200. And we will enter short when the Supertrend turns red and the price is below the EMA 200. The close of the trade will be when the indicator changes color from red to green or green to red. Now let's have a look at the chart and setting up the indicator for this one. You can see here I already have the indicator loaded on the screen, but I'll just show you the settings. And now just looking at the settings for the moving average, we've got period 200 and the method is exponential. And the Supertrend indicator, the settings we have here is period of 10 and a multiplier 3.5. If we look at resetting the settings, the standard setting comes up for me as 3, but request from my follower was to use 3.5. So we'll do that for this example. Now, I've already gone through and pre-tested this one using data from the 1st of January 2025, and we have two very different results depending on which way we want to actually trade this indicator. So there are two methods. The first is we can actually set up the indicator so that we take a buy or a sell with a fixed stop loss, which would be at the Supertrend level. So in this case, if we were entering, see if I can find a good setup here. So if we're entering here when the red changes to green, we would set the stop loss at the actual level. So we would say, okay, here is the entry. That is 150 pip take stop loss on that one, and the take profit would be when it changes color. So in this case, we would have had a change of color at about here. This would have been actually a losing trade, but you get the idea. We'll show you some examples as we go through the actual setup anyway. Okay, loading up the simulator. I'm just going to use the previous settings that I had on here when I did the first test on this one. So we're using the 1st of January 2024 for this test, and we can actually use different time periods, and I will do multiple tests with this one using different times as well. So let's start the simulation. The chart we're using is 30-minute. I have the template already preset in here, so we'll just load the template. I'm going to actually do two tests for you here today. The first one is going to use an entry but no exit for the take profit. We're going to not use a fixed stop loss and take profit. Now the first setting we're going to use is for 2% risk and a 3% gain. But before I do this one, I'm going to do another quick test using entry only with a stop loss and no take profit on this one. We're only going to exit at the change of color. The second test I will do shortly will be with 1.5 risk to reward. So let's get started with the first test. Just to show you how quickly you can actually pass a prop firm challenge. So we want to actually make a 10% gain, or we want to have a 10% gain or a 10% loss. Daily loss maximum is 4% for a few of the prop firms. So we're going to only have one trade per day at maximum. The maximum amount we can lose on this prop firm challenge will be only 2% per day, so we'll come within our boundaries. Okay, we've got our first entry signal here, and so you can see the price is below the 200 EMA and it has just turned red. The stop loss we're going to measure, this one is let's say 86 pips. So we enter our sell and we're going to exit at the change of color. Okay, closing the trade. So we've made our first profit. It was only at 0.31% and $30 on a 10k challenge. This would be. So let's look now for our second entry. Okay, sorry, I'll just have to go back a little. I've just went too far ahead. So we've got on here the indicator, the Supertrend indicator here has turned green. The price is still below the 200 EMA, so we're looking for a close above, which we now have. The stop loss will be 60 pips. And we can now enter our buy. There's no take profit on this one. We're only going to close when we either reach 10% or change of color. You can see here that this is actually a good day for Supertrend. It's actually going up quite nicely. I'm just watching the profit on our software here. We're currently at 5.47% and our target is 10%, and we've reached it now. So 10.02% or $11,002. If we want to go slightly further above, we could actually go, wait for another couple of clicks to see if we get a higher profit. And here we have 10.2 or 11,020 is our balance. Let's close out here, and we've reached our target for our prop firm challenge in only 2 trades. So this is an example of how this can work in a really good situation for you. However, it's not always going to be this simple. So this might have been just a good day. But now I'm going to set up the software for a second setup. And this one we're going to use 1.5R, and we're going to use 2% trade risk and a 3% gain. So let's close this one out and just see how we go. The new setup based on the same time frame as previously, January 2024. And we have a 30-minute chart. Loading the Supertrend template. Now this one's going to take a little bit longer to get through. There is some setting in the software Forex to actually automate part of the clicking so that we don't have to go from bar to bar. But let's first of all, we know that there was a trade coming up here shortly, our first one. So we've got our first entry is on the change of red, which is here. The stop loss on this one is 86 pips. We want to risk 2%. That makes the take profit 123 pips on this one. So in this case, we are not closing at the change of color. We are only closing when it hits our take profit or stop loss. So you can see here with the animation, just makes it a little bit easier so that we don't have to click from bar to bar. And you can see here that our first trade would have actually been a loss using this rule. So the next entry we're looking at is going to be the next time we have a change of color. And we're only looking for greens at the moment because we're above the 200 EMA. When you see double lines such as this, we're just showing that we have a weekend break on the chart. So we're just going into a Monday now. And as you can see, we're getting close to the green. So we're looking at now possible change of color. So here we have it, the red. So now our next entry we're looking at is going to be if this red changes to a green on the Supertrend. And here we have it. Entry is, just say round figures, say 50 pips. And take profit will be 75. Okay, that one is also a loss. Moving on to the next day. I've slightly missed the entry here, so I'm just going to backpedal a little. So we've got down here at the start of the new day, we've got an entry with, let's see, 49 pips. I'm just going to say 50 again, just to keep it simple for the calculation. And here we have our first win. Just watching out now for our next entry. So we've had a change to the red. So now looking for another change to the green on the Supertrend. Take a long. Okay, here we have it. And entry here is let's see, 44 pips, so that'll take a take profit of 66 pips. And some of these trades are going to go overnight and into the next day, so we're just going to let them run. And there we have our second win. We've actually covered the losses already. Now watching for our next change from a red to a green again for a long, as we're currently above the 200 EMA. here we have target. We're up to 9.35%. So I'm hoping this one last trade will finish it off for us, but let's see how it goes anyway. Fingers crossed, hope it goes in the right direction. Okay, and here if we have a look at our current numbers, we're actually up by 11%, so we can actually close the trade here and say that we've reached our target of 10%. I will actually just let this play out though to see if it actually continues to go up, and looks like it's just hovering around that point at the moment, but it has actually come up with a red indicator now to say that it's changing direction. But this, to me, we have got a result. So let's have a look at the actual trades and the graph for starters. So we can see on this one, we've gone sideways for a long time, and it has taken a lot of trades to actually get to this result. And let's just see if we can get a time frame on here. So we've taken 47 trades to actually pass this prop firm challenge if we're aiming for a 10% target. The finishing date we've got is the 20th of May 2024. So it actually took us almost 5 months to actually reach our target. So to me, the stats are not very good for a prop firm challenge. The last part of the actual run here from say March onwards was good because we had more ups than downs on the trend, but in January and February we actually had a few consecutive losses, which kind of messed up our stats a lot. So looking at the statistics we've got here, we've reached our profit target, although it did take a long time to reach. We've got a profit factor of 1.23. We've had 47 trades and 22 winning trades and 25 losing trades. So the actual numbers there to wins and losses is actually not very good, but we are using a 1.5R so that we can actually still reach our target even if we don't win 50% of our trades. But that is the result anyway, so I can say success that we did pass the prop firm challenge, but I would not actually use this particular strategy with these particular settings, not on a 30-minute chart anyway. So I may actually do some more tests with this strategy again, using different time periods and different take profit and stop loss. So perhaps doing maybe 2R might be a better way to go, so that we can get a better result on the longer trends and win 4% profit on a 2% risk, and that might actually get us to our target a bit quicker as well. So watch out for my next video. We will do another test using Supertrend and see if we can get a better result than we've had today. Okay, thank you very much for watching. And now this actually did take a while, so I did actually skip through a lot of the center part of the actual videos just to get to the end result. But watch out for my next video anyway, and we'll see if we can get a better result.